everybody, thanks for joining me in the kitchen. We are doing our farm to table. The first one we did was wheat with making whole grain, whole wheat bread. And today we have peas. So I will show you start to finish the bin, again going to get the peas, giving them a wash, putting them through the food mill to get the skins taken off of them, and then getting them in the pot here to be boiling. So thanks for joining us in the kitchen again. I'm going to show you what I'm going to put into the soup that we're making, just a rustic pea soup. And if you don't want to go through all the work of farm to table of pea soup, I just want to give you a quick glimpse of how you can use these ingredients. You can find them at the store too, but because I have them, I want to show you what we create on the farm, as well as how to use it, whether you have it in your pantry, go to the grocery store. It's stuff that sits on the shelf for a long time and you can always have on hand in your pantry to make anything at any time. Sometimes it does take a little more effort and time, but always a great product. So like I said, I threw out the bag here, but here are some yellow split peas and green split peas, and today we are using the green peas. I got them whole and then we split them and they're in the pot cooking there. I'll give you a look at that. So if it makes more sense for you to go to the grocery store and pick up a bag, that is totally acceptable, but I'll show you start to finish my version of pea soup. So I have peas here that I soaked overnight, brought up to a boil first, then turned it off, let it soak, and now they're cold. And I'm just going to put them in this food mill. Some of the peas, and split them in half and pop off a bit of the shells. It's not quite as easy. Now, if you don't have your own peas out of a garden that's dried or picked up from your local farmer, and you just go straight to the store and buy dried split peas, you can skip all this step. But I'm showing you start to finish how you can use whole grains from the farm and how it was probably done way back when. We'll stop for a second and you can see these white pieces are the skins of the peas, or the shells. And underneath here, I have my bowl, and that has split some of them open. So you can see that. And then I'll fill it up with water. And you'll see that they float. So you can see there how the skins float, and then you can just gently pour them off. And you just do it a couple times and get rid of all the skins. Now that I've run those peas through the food mill, and most of them have been split in half, there's still a little tiny bit of skins, but you know what, they'll blend right in and be a part of the soup, or I can pull them out if they rise to the top while cooking. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in a pot of boiling water and cook those up. Just taking a quick peek here at our peas boiling away. And on the back burner here, I have some bay leaves just simmering in water. I would usually put them right in with the peas. It would also flavor the peas, but I hate to dig them out and feel like I missed one. I can't find, for some reason, my cheesecloth. You can also just wrap them in a little bit of cheesecloth with a string, put them in with the peas boiling there, and you have no problem finding them. But because I somehow misplaced my cheesecloth, here I am boiling it into a little broth that I will add to the peas after. Okay. While I've got those peas boiling away, they'll boil for, well, they can cook for about an hour or so. They'll be softened through, and then we're just gonna fry up these vegetables here just to add a little more flavor. Now you could throw them in. The peas do take quite a while to cook until they're just softened, and everybody likes their peas maybe a different texture. I like them super smooth and silky, so I cook them quite a long time. You can always pop them in the oven too, or a slow cooker, cook them for the whole day if you want to, and that is just fine. I'm cooking mine on the stove today there, just boiling them until they are all the starch is cooked and it creates its own thickened soup broth. So once the peas are actually just softened through, then I would start to brown these vegetables here. We have some onion, some russet potato, carrots, celery, some bacon, and some garlic. I'm gonna throw that in a frying pan and get that all browned up. It adds so much more flavor, but like I said, once your peas are soft, you could throw all of this in the oven or slow cooker and just let it go as well, and it would be just as good. Mine just adds a little bit more flavor with the browning of the vegetables. So that's what I do, just as a two-step process, and I just keep letting those peas go as they are. So I'm just chopping up some farmer sausage here to add in. You can make pea soup and make it totally vegetarian. Add in some veggie stock if you like, but I prefer mine with a little bit of bacon or ham. Ham hock you can cook and throw the whole thing in. If you have a ham bone, go ahead and whatever's left on that ham bone, if you've had a ham for Easter or something like that and you want to save every last little bit, throw that ham bone in with your cooking peas, and it will make a beautiful salty brine that I'm just going to achieve by cheating here and adding some sausage and bacon. Get that on with a little splash of oil. I use extra virgin olive oil. You can use canola oil here. You can use butter if you want a little extra flavor for browning. But because I'm going to throw in sausage as well, I'm going to hold off on the butter fat and just use the olive oil for this time. And generally you pop in whatever takes the longest to cook, which is your onions and carrots. And because the sugars will release as we cook the onions, you'll get that nice caramelized browning flavor if you cook it a little bit slower and allow those juices to come out and the sugars to get cooked in there. I'm just going to throw the carrots in too, because I cut them fairly big. And we'll just fry this all up together. It'll cook just until the onions are brown just a bit and the carrots will become soft. And then I'll toss in the celery. I like the soup to eventually have a little bit of, not crunch, but a bit of texture outside of what the peas are going to create. Just going to lift this. So these guys are starting to get a little bit of color, you can see. Now we're not fully cooking these vegetables. I just want to brown them up, and that will add the extra flavor. Just as those sugars release onto the frying pan and turn a little bit brown there, that's what's going to add this flavor. And then I'll finish cooking them by putting them in with the peas and letting the rest of that flavor come out and enhance that soup. So just with this, we're just looking for If you can see that there. Just that browning that's happening ever so slowly. See that? How they're turning nicely browned. But as you can see through there, that onion is not all the way cooked. You can see that white there. So that's not all the way cooked, which is perfect. We don't want it all the way. So we're gonna go in, throw in as much or as little garlic as you like. So I've got about a tablespoon here of minced garlic. In my world, you can never have too much garlic. Some people don't feel the same way. And that garlic gets a little extra rich flavor as you put that in the heat as well, giving that a little extra brown before it goes into the soup. And in with the celery. And this is what you'd call, if you have even onion, celery, and carrot, a mirepoix. The combination of those three vegetables are the basis for many, many stocks and soups. I'm going to give that a minute with the celery, and then I'll go ahead and add in the sausage, which is going to add a little bit more fat and flavor with those vegetables. So I'm not going to add any more oil or anything like that. That celery is going to add a little touch more water to be released before it goes in the soup. The vegetables look about perfect. So throw in some sausage. And you let the fat break down a little bit. That'll give the veggies a little bit more browning and not make the soup too greasy. As soon as a little bit of that fat has rendered out, I'll toss the potatoes in with this, and then it'll all go in. Sausage is cooked in the pan now. I'm going to toss in the potatoes. So now those veggies are already half cooked. Well, I just add in one russet potato. So that is totally raw, so it's going to need that time while the other vegetables want to go soft. Those potatoes will have enough time to just cook without falling completely apart. All right, so I'm not even going to really cook that. I am going to dump in the bacon, and that'll rehydrate a little more, adding more flavor with the soup. All right. I'm just going to turn that off. Check the peas here. So they're just boiling away. The peas have softened, started to fall apart just a little bit. You can see. We're going to go ahead and add the vegetable that we cooked earlier to this. Bring up the temperature a little bit. All these nice, beautiful vegetables with that sausage and bacon as well, all into the pot. And now that's going to finish cooking the vegetable. It's going to add that briny, salty flavor with the sausage. And we're just going to let that simmer until the broth thickens right up. So it's still fairly watery, but as those peas cook down and break apart, they will turn into a nice, thick, starchy broth. I'm going to throw in some Italian seasoning now. Just a blend there. A little salt and pepper. And you can add more after of salt and pepper to make it taste as you would like. Give that a stir. I'm going to add a touch more liquid to it. Adding in 2 cups of concentrated vegetable stock just to enhance a little more depth of flavor here, because the peas have a texture but not a lot of flavor. I'm also going to go in with that mixture we had of the bay leaves. You can pull the bay leaves right out and use what you like, but I'm just going to pour some into the stock. And that will add all the flavor. As you can see in there, I had the bay leaves and I have 2 cloves. And I'm just going to cover that up and let it simmer. Vegetables are cooked as it thickens up. Take a look at how this is thickened up. The liquid has mostly been absorbed. It's cooking down and thickening up. So there's mostly vegetable in there now. So that almost looks like a stew. Now if you wanted to eat it like this, it's good to go. It's awesome. If you wanted the peas just to be whole like that and you want to thicken it up a little bit, you add a little bit of cornstarch and water together to mix a slurry, about 2 tablespoons to about 4 or 5 tablespoons of water, and add a little water. I am going to just add a little bit extra here. But first, I'm going to mash just a little bit, get a little bit of this pea mixture broken up, just a bit, so I don't have all of the peas whole. Let's just get rid of that for a second. That's just my potato masher, just breaking it up a little bit. Into some smaller bits. All right, so like I said, I wish you could smell it in here. It smells awesome. Now what I'm going to do is turn up the heat. I'm just going to add a little extra water because I like mine with a little bit more broth. If I was going for stew, this would be great. You could also use stock. I'm just going to use a little water. Stir that up so it turns more like a soup. We got that boiling. I've added a little bit of water so it becomes that thicker soup. Soupy more than stew. And I'm just going to go ahead and pour in that slurry of cornstarch and water. Because I added more water, I just added a little volume and made it more like a soup. But I like my broth a little thick. So I'll just thicken that up. See how that's transformed? You know your cornstarch is cooked when it loses that milky look and is clear again. So that gives that more of that congealed suspension to the vegetables. And then my favorite way to finish it. Now this is traditionally how you would serve this. It's ready to go. All the veggies and a bit of a suspended thicken. Not always do you have to. Depends how much starch is in your vegetable. The yellow peas you buy from the store would have a bit more starch and cook down and break down a lot quicker. My peas from the farm, not as much. They definitely hold their shape better. That's why I mashed them a little bit. You can see that they're still quite holding their shape, even though they've been cooked down for quite a few hours. But like I said, the way I get my family to eat the pea soup, as it's not every kid's favorite, is just go ahead, it's boiled up now so we know that cornstarch is cooked, and I'm just going to hit it with a little bit of cream because I have it in the fridge to use up. Give that a stir. And that adds a silky richness to this that completely transforms the soup. So take a look at that. It's also important to know not to boil it after you've added the cream. That's your finishing touch. Our pea soup with bacon and farmer's sausage, topped off there with a little shred of cheese. You can put a little dollop of sour cream if you like. Make sure when it's done cooking you give it a little taste for spice for yourself. If you like a little extra salt and pepper, put it in there. And there we have it, rustic pea soup from the farm. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you try and make the pea soup. Let me know how it goes if you do make it. Other than that, join us next time for our farm-to-table cooking experiences, and we'll be doing a Mediterranean bean dip and a beef barley soup and a barley pilaf. So stay tuned for those, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.